Welcome, everyone. My name is Faith Berens, and I am one of the special needs consultants here on staff with HSLDA. And joining me today for this Facebook Live is Peggy Ployhar from SPED Homeschool to talk about an upcoming awesome event called a family retreat. And this is specifically for families with special needs. So thanks for joining us today, Peggy.
Oh, thanks for having me, Faith.
Yeah, I'm excited. So for those of you who are hopping on here, tuning in, please let us know in the chat where you are joining from, and just feel free to drop any questions you may have about this special 2022 family retreat. Drop those in the comment box, and we'll save time at the end to talk about some of those.
Awesome.
Yeah, so excited. I'm so happy to have Peggy on. I consider her a dear friend, a mentor, love her heart, love her ministry with SPED Homeschool. And I'm just really excited about all that is going on out there at SPED Homeschool and this event. So we're going to jump in here. But before we get into talking about the family retreat a little bit, just share a little bit about your work and the mission of SPED Homeschool for those people that are joining or they may not be familiar.
Yeah. So I've been homeschooling for 19 years and started being a special needs consultant, kind of like what Faith does, but for state organizations 2 years into my homeschooling journey. I guess I was just a little bit ahead and just had a passion to help other parents. And so that's been 17 years running that I've been helping parents with homeschooling special needs children, both in Minnesota, working with MACHE, the Minnesota Association of Christian Home Educators, and then the Texas Homeschool Coalition. And so just really felt God laying on my heart that, as consultants, we don't have the opportunity to help parents create resources that they can use in the long run. We're firefighting a lot of times and just helping them get through the difficult spots. And it just burdened my heart that I had no place to send parents to go that was a continuous resource for them in homeschooling, a struggling learner, special needs, whatever you want to label that as. And so SPED Homeschool was born in the summer of 2017. We're going to be celebrating our 5-year anniversary coming up this summer. And our goal is to empower families to home educate unique learners. And really the driving force that we want to accomplish as a nonprofit is to make homeschooling the most viable choice for families who have a struggling learner, instead of saying, there's just no resources, there's nothing. We want to flood the resource market and make sure parents feel like they're equipped, that they've got everything that they need, and this can be the best choice that they have out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and just so appreciative of the work that you do. And it's been a real blessing to be able to partner with SPED Homeschool some, and just really been happy to serve on the board with Peggy and with SPED Homeschool for several years. And I see that our mission at HSLDA just really dovetails nicely with the work that you guys do out there. And so we are here to talk today about this brand new, wonderful initiative and opportunity for families that are impacted by special needs. So we are going to have Peggy talk a little bit about this family retreat coming up. So Peggy, what's the scoop? What do people need to know?
Yeah, so in August, for families, it's the 21st through the 26th. The reason I say that's for families is because we also need volunteers. Our goal is to host 20 families who are affected by disability at a camp in southern Minnesota. It's actually in Stewartville, Minnesota, just south of Rochester. And it'll be a family retreat, all inclusive. That means the horseback riding, the chuck wagon dinner, all of these things that we're going to have going on are included. It doesn't mean that you have to do everything. It's kind of a choose as you go type of thing, but we want you to be involved. But our goal is to pair up every child, not just a child with disability. We know how affected siblings are when there's a disability to in your household. And so to match every child up with a buddy so that they feel special that week, mom and dad can get a break, respite. That's the biggest need our families have. And we want to make that happen. And we want you to have a family vacation that you're going to love. And the reason I know this is going to be successful is because we have partnered with the Ministry of Joni and Friends, who have done this successfully for almost 20 years. And they were using their blueprint. Actually, we're working in partnership with them for this retreat, and so it's been proven to work. And families come back. Usually, these camps fill up within the first day. Our camp isn't full yet, so there's lots of opportunity. We have about 8 families already registered, and so we've got 12 spots left.
Great. That's awesome. So you mentioned respite. So besides respite for parents too, what are some of the other goals of the event, of family retreat, other things that are on your heart for families impacted with special needs?
That's a great question, because I spent 2 trips up to Minnesota last year looking for the perfect venue. Because there's lots of venues out there that have adequate housing, or there's lots of different things at these camps. But my goal was to create community. I want parents to be able to talk to other parents. We find that when we have like these community get-togethers at conferences, that the parents just want to stay. They don't want to listen to the speakers. They want to get to know each other. They want to know they're not alone. And so community building is going to be a huge part of that, developing lifelong friendships with other homeschooling families, and knowing that you have a support system after you leave, that it's not just that week, but you have developed lifelong friends.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's so important. I know so often that, children with special needs, students with special needs, one of the things that I'll often hear and talk, get this from friends as well as members, is that they'll say, well, I don't really have friends, or I may have a co-op, but, we only get together at co-op, and they're not really like a true friend. And I feel like that's important, not just for the student with a learning difference or disability, special need, whatever we want to use there. But also, it's very, very important. I want my children to learn empathy and understanding, to learn how to serve other people, to not be afraid to be around people who are differently abled, that they need to learn how to navigate, are typically developing students and family members. So this is a wonderful opportunity, not just for the children that will be there with special needs, but like you said, for the siblings, for other people, for people to come serve. So please spread the word, those of you who are on, or, share this Facebook Live later, because it's a wonderful learning opportunity and family building time, whether
Can I
developing or not.
I take the opportunity to talk about that aspect, because we're approaching it a little differently. Most of the Joni and Friends retreats, they pair up buddies like 16 and older, which we would love to do. But I really want to encourage a whole family to take a mission trip and serve special needs families this summer. This is really close to my heart. But as a family, you could come and serve. And then if your child is younger, that they would go through the same training that you would, but then they'd be paired up with a parent and your younger child and one of those children. And they would get to learn firsthand what it's like to become a friend to somebody who has a special need. So, and then the reciprocal back and forth. Actually, there's been a lot of success that the retreats that do this, because they find that when you pair them up with a younger child, that younger child has a lot of energy and they want to do things and try things. And then the parent is almost like just this in the supervisory role. And you see something beautiful happen through that relationship, because as we're older, oh, do I have to go on the zip line again? But, the kids are going to get you to go on the zip line again. So to think about it, if your family's thinking, we'd love to go on a mission trip, then, think about serving special needs families within our own country and how that is a mission.
That's
it's
amazing.
A huge mission field.
Right in our own backyard. And there are so many needs. And I'm just so thankful that you were inspired to organize this event, your heart, and just what a great opportunity it is. And so thankful to Joni and friends to partner
Yes.
with you. So that's amazing.
Yeah.
So some families may be, they may have some reservations or some questions. So what are some
Yes.
accommodations that are available for families who will be attending, or, facility wise, or what will be built in to lend support and accommodations for the
Yeah.
students and the families?
Well, this retreat center that we are using was created by a man in a wheelchair, and he it was developed on his own family's land, and so every room is completely accessible. Every shower is completely accessible. The food program is going to be catered to the guests that are coming. We have a family coordinator who, for years, has run a co-op successfully that caters to special needs families, and she just welcomes you in. Every family that we've had register so far, she calls them, she talks to them, she makes sure that all that information comes into us. And any special requests that you have, we are going to try our best to make sure all those requests. We've gotten some with, don't put bunk beds in my room, my kids are going to jump off of them, or we really need a recliner because that's how we sleep better. So we're working on those things. Within this lodge, it's a great setup because every one of the 27 suites in this lodge is unique. So we compare a family up to the accommodations that would work best for them. So we're really working with you. Even the horseback riding, they have lifts to lift if you are unable, to put you right on the horse. And so it's completely accessible from beginning to end, and we're doing everything to work with the families to make sure that everything that makes you feel comfortable. I'm going in a couple weeks to shoot some social stories on video, so you can walk your kids through the spaces ahead of time as well.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And so if a family had like a special diet that they needed, they could bring their own cooler in if they needed
So
to.
every room has its own microwave and refrigerator. And so, yes, but we will accommodate the majority of those dietary needs, because I have a lot of them too. So I totally understand that.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, I get that question a lot too. And, more and more people are having, food allergies and
Right.
health-related issues that diet and food and access to things like that is often a concern.
Yep.
All right. So, so tell us more about like volunteer needs. How many volunteers are you looking for? What special training will be provided?
Oh, that's a good
Give
question.
us some scoop about the volunteer situation.
Yeah. So our goal is to have 80 volunteers, and their housing setup is a little different. You're going to be a missionary, so you're going to be in bunks. Sorry. That's just the way it is.
Hey, that's okay. It'll take us back to our childhood.
It will, but it's great because the women are going to be with the women, men with the men. They have huge bunk rooms, but also the day ahead of the families is when the volunteers arrive. We have a volunteer coordinator who is extremely gifted. She just has a passion to help special needs families, and she actually trains paras to work in schools. And so she is a wealth of information and will be doing the majority of the training, then mixed with me, our camp nurse, and our family coordinator as well. But as a volunteer, we require, and actually for all adults, we require background checks. Volunteers need to go through some sexual abuse training so that we have a safe place. We want to make sure that is a safe place. For kids younger, that's not something that we require. We understand that if you have younger kids, you're going to be watching them anyways. But there's also, after that, every night there's a debriefing, and this is where the power comes in with being a volunteer and serving. Is that when you take time after the evening program to get back together with all the volunteers, and they share stories of impact and how their view is changing of what it's like to have a disability, what it's like to work with someone with a disability, these families, how they're affected by disability, and then also how can you take that back to your church, to your co-op, instead of just leaving it at camp. And so it's an impactful week for the volunteers because it's an intensive training, but it's so filled with joy, and so there's a lot of opportunity because we have a lot of openings.
Great. That's awesome. Okay, and what are those dates again for people that may have hopped on late or didn't hear
Right.
it?
So the dates for the families is from August 22nd to 26th. And then the volunteers will arrive a day early, August 21st. That's a Sunday. So the families come through Monday through Friday.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
I also wanted to mention that the cost is $450. You can get donations for that. We've already had one family, a church donated almost their entire registration fee, just, to ask. And then we have fundraising pages set up for both families who want to attend, as well as volunteers can use that to raise funds, just like if you're going on a mission trip.
And how can families access those for the information and to see the fundraising pages that you just mentioned?
Yeah. So if they go to our website, spedhomeschool.com, and click on Get Homeschool Help, it'll be right at the top of there, the family camp information. And that would take you to the application. Actually, when you fill out that application, there's nothing due. You just apply, and then that'll hook you up with either a family coordinator or our volunteer coordinator who will personally contact you and work you through the rest of the process.
Okay, great. And we will have links in the show notes today. And for those of you, if you have questions, please go ahead and start dropping comments or questions.
So our theme this year is, so every year Joni and Friends does a theme and they write a whole curriculum around it. It's anchored in Christ, and our camp pastor is Steve Demme. So I don't know if many people know that Steve from Matthew C. Is actually a pastor. And he's been involved with Joni and Friends retreats for 15 years with his own family out in Pennsylvania. So he is excited to come and to pour into the families through the week. And it's going to be a blast if you've ever met Steve. It's always fun.
Yeah, he's a great teacher, but, get him away from teaching math, and he loves to joke and cut up and wear crazy socks, and he really has a heart for family discipleship.
Yes.
And what a godly man, and wow, what a great opportunity to get to hang out with Steve Demme for a week.
For a whole week. Yeah.
There you go. I mean, that'll be awesome. Okay. Well, for families who couldn't make it to Minnesota for an in-person, retreat, do you have any resources or ideas for families just for other summer fun or maybe respite? While we have you on here, we'll pick your brain a little bit.
Well, I know Joni and Friends does retreats all over the country. So if you followed the link on our website to their site, you can look at other opportunities in your states. And I know there are opportunities, especially I don't know as far as family registrations. They do say that the registrations have been down, so there's more than likely opportunities, more so than there has been in past years. But definitely there's a need for volunteers. So if you feel like I'd love to volunteer at one of these camps, the blueprint is about the same, although we're going to be more homeschool focused. And the goal is after this pilot program this year in Minnesota that we'll be expanding this program into other states. And Joni and Friends has that same kind of vision about where this is going to go. But for our family, when my kids were little, it was just respite is what fills you. And it's different for every family. For us, it was camping. And I know with kids on the spectrum, having a camper, that was the same. It was like moving my house versus being at a new place every time where the rules always changed. And then having to reset them because that seemed to take the entire vacation, and then we'd come home and I'd be exhausted. So, but yeah, even in your own area, and sometimes that's more comfortable for our kids, that we take little trips out and treat where we live as a tourist I mean, people come probably to where you live to go on vacation, some of you. I know they do where we live, and just to be a tourist. But yeah, taking that family time, so
Yeah,
important.
it is. It is. And to just, unwind and disconnect from media and to get out in nature or whatever. But so
Yes.
many museums, your local parks and rec has special opportunities and special camps and different things for students with special needs. I usually encourage families to look into like Easter Seals, the Ark, Special Olympics, stuff like that. So,
Right. Yep.
um, yeah, and more churches do have disability ministries, and so you may be able to find like a day camp or
Right.
parents
Something a little more
day out or
comfortable.
something like that.
Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah, there's more and more out there, fortunately, for families. But this is an amazing opportunity. I really would encourage families to hop on SPED Homeschool website, check it out. Talk to your teenagers, your family members about volunteering, taking a special mission trip this summer, and serving. Lots of opportunity here to serve and to grow and to grow together as a family too. So, yeah. So let's see if we have any questions about family camp. Any other questions coming in here on the comments? I'm not seeing. I see hello from Tennessee, Wilmington, North Carolina, California. Wow. All right. And Indiana. So
Awesome.
awesome. Well, thank you all for joining us from all those places. And I don't see any questions. So Peggy, do you have any other comments that you want to
There's
share?
one that just came in. It says our large family is okay.
Okay.
Yes, we have accommodations for very large families. Actually, some of the suites are definitely large, so we can accommodate that.
All right. Here's another one from Carol. Hey, Carol. My husband and I have 4 children with special needs. How will the days at camp look with the volunteers working with our family throughout the week?
That's a great question. So the volunteers join you at breakfast, and then after breakfast, the kids go to their programming. It's kind of set up like a Sunday school type program, but their buddies go with them. And then the buddies stay with them. You have a separate session, and that'll be with Steve, that will have some teaching. And then there'll be breakouts for the moms, breakouts for the dads, and breakouts for the young adults. So even if you have adult children, we want to welcome you. We know that having a child with a disability is sometimes a lifelong parenting care situation, and this does not rule you out, definitely. And so then you just have time to talk with others, get to know them, talk about the message and just how that's impacted you. And that lasts up until lunchtime. And pretty much every morning will be like that, except for the last morning where we're going to do a full worship together and wrap up, share stories of the week before we take off. But then after lunch is free time. It's free time from lunch till dinner. You can do whatever you want or don't do anything at all. Your buddy will be available to help your child if you want them. If you don't want them because you want a special family time, you can say, could you please take a break? It's completely up to you. And really, every activity is going to be that way. We have some great evening activities planned. Just a campfire the first night because everybody's going to be tired. We have a chuck wagon dinner where we actually take the chuck wagon out into the woods and they put on a whole show. If you've ever wanted to do that, you're going to have the opportunity. And then we've got a talent show that we'll focus on. Every act will have somebody that's affected by a disability in the act. And that's like the highlight of the Joni and Friends retreats. And then we've got another program planned that is a parent night out. And so you get to put on some nice clothes. The buddies will stay with your kids. They are going to do pizza and a laser tag.
Fun.
battle. Yes, and there's also a petting zoo. They're gonna just do a whole bunch of different activities at night while parents have the ability to dress up and have a nice dinner on their own. So lots of things that we have filled for that week, and our families will get a full schedule about a month prior to. I'm still working out some locations for things, but we've just about got that finished. So
Wow, Peggy, that sounds really amazing. And I love that there's structured time, there's something for everybody, but then families do have the opportunity to say, no, thank you. We're going to come together on our own, or we need to rest, or whatever that looks like,
right,
for
yes.
each individual person and family. So that sounds really special and unique.
Yeah, and we're working on bringing in maybe I'm working on bringing in a massage therapist and a hairdresser,
Wow.
some nail techs, just to pamper moms. I guess if dads want them too, we can do that. But those will be some extra things that we're planning as well. April, a question about the 450. That is per person for the event.
All right. So I've done a mission trip before out of the country, and it was, it was a lot of fundraising. So do you have any ideas? I mean, I did like a Buffalo Wild Wings night. I invited all my family and friends and church, and it was specifically to help raise funds to do this overseas mission trip where I donated my time to do individualized assessments for missionary families who are homeschooling overseas, and to test students with special needs to help support their families so the families could stay on the mission field. So let's share just a couple of ideas, if costs can be an issue for families. What are some creative ways to raise funds to do a mission trip?
Good question. Well, a lot of people send out letters, asking friends and family, and there are a lot of businesses that once they hear that you're raising funds to volunteer to help those in need, are going to be on board with that. So pretty much just basically any business that you have close ties to, approach them and say, would you be willing? Because you're bringing in business to them by telling people that if they buy their stuff, they're going to give money back to you. Going to your church. A lot of times churches have a 10% fund that they give to helping for other needs, missionaries and things, and they may be going, what do we do with some of this money? And so approaching that too. There's just a variety of different ways, and just pray. God has a way of answering those prayers and needs in unique ways.
That's right. Yeah. Have a garage sale. I know I have a ton of junk.
I did that when I went to
garage basement right now.
When I went to Russia, I did that, and that paid for half of my trip to go speak in Russia. So yeah.
There you go.
Yep.
All right. Well, we have another question. Our youngest child has a G-tube and is scheduled feedings. How are these type of medical needs handled?
Yes. So our camp nurse is not there to take care of those needs. As a parent, we ask that that you be over all the medical needs of your child. And so the buddy is not a kind of like a hired worker, like you would have come into your home that does respite and more medical things. So you can either bring somebody along. Some families do that at these camps. We haven't had any register yet for ours. But of course, with the flexibility of the schedule, you can do those feedings. And if you need a place to do that, we can find that for you. If it's a mechanical pump, that's just something that they take with them. I think we'll make sure that happens, and that nobody grabs it. I know I've had multiple siblings on G-tube, so I get that.
Yeah. So the nurse that you have that will be on staff or working that week is basically for emergencies,
yes, and
general
she's
first aid, things like that.
Right, and she'll be training the volunteers in general first aid that first day, but mainly she will just be there for emergencies.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, great. Well, that sounds amazing. Sounds like you've thought about so many good details to overcome obstacles for families. I do know that this is a huge need. It's one of the biggest things that we hear as special needs consultants here at HSLDA is people, families are exhausted. They feel that they're alone. And, this is a great place, like you said, to make lifelong connections. It's not just family camp. I know Steve Dummy goes every year, or he has for years.
Yes.
And those family friendships, they've had those friendships over the years, and not just at camp, but
yes, they're friends. They go to each other's kids' weddings and funerals, and for families, they're really their support system. And so that is our goal. It's always been something big on my heart, but it's hard to do at a national level. So going uniquely to different states is the way to start that.
Yeah. Well, it's a great vision. Thank you so much for your heart. I'm so thankful that you're partnering with MACHE, or MACHE is partnering with you and Joni and friends. This is a special family retreat, and it is specifically geared for homeschoolers.
Yes.
And the theme is, again, anchored in Christ. And it's going to be phenomenal. What a great opportunity and ministry. Thank you so much, Peggy.
Oh, thank you for letting me share. Yeah. I'm excited.
And thank everyone for joining us today. This is an awesome opportunity. I would ask that you would spread the word, share it. We'll post the link and more info about how to register in the comments. Thank you again, everyone watching. If you know any families who might be interested, someone who might be interested in volunteering, serving, again, please feel free to share the link, spread the word. Please know that HSLDA has a wealth of resources for parents homeschooling children with learning challenges. If you're not familiar with our resources, check out hslda.org/special needs. HSLDA members also have access to our special needs consultants who can help with specific questions about your child's needs and help you come up with an educational plan. And if you're not a member, I hope that you would consider joining us. We would love to have you be part of our community. We'll post a link to more information in the comments for you below. Thanks again, everyone, for joining us, and have a great, blessed day.
Thanks.